Okay, I am on page 278 in your books. And because we couldn't start our assignment yesterday, I'm going to try to talk you through how to graph lines on your graphing calculator. So what I want you to do right now is have your book open to page 278. And if you need to look on with a friend, look on with a friend so we can get this done. Okay? It says that you have learned how to graph function rules by making a table of values. You can also use a graphing calculator to graph function rules. And then the first thing it says to do is to graph y equals 1/2 x minus 4 using a graphing calculator. It says to press the y equals key, which is right here on your calculator. You press y equals, well, I'll turn it on first. Your on button is down here in the corner, so we'll turn it on. I'm going to clear mine out. Anytime you're on the graphing calculator and you can't get it to do anything else, it just won't clear or anything, just hit the second and then hit the quit key right beside it. If you hit second and quit, your screen will clear out and you'll be able to start anything you need to. Okay? So I've cleared my screen. Just go ahead and hit second, quit. Should clear your screen out. If it doesn't, then hit clear after you do that. And it says in step 1 to press the y equals key, which is this key right here, so I'm going to press it. Okay. If you see anything at all in this window, anything, like I see something under y sub 2, I'm going to go down and I'm going to hit clear and it will disappear. So just go down and hit clear until all of these windows are clear. You should have nothing in there at all. I press the y equals key, and then it says to the right of y sub 1 equals enter. So you need to make sure your cursor is flashing over here, not on the equal sign. If it's excuse me, if it's on the equal sign, you're going to need to arrow over. It needs to be flashing over there. Okay? And then it says enter 1/2 x minus 4 by pressing the following keys. It says to press a parenthesis, and then a 1, and then divided by, and then a 2, and then another parenthesis. So that gives you your 1/2. And then it says press this key right here. This is where you're going to find the x that you want to use. Sometimes it's a T, sometimes it's a theta, sometimes it's an N. But for you right now, if you just hit it once, it'll be an X, and you can see the X right up there. And then hit minus, not the negative sign. Make sure you're hitting minus, minus, and then 4. And that's what you should see on your calculator right now. And it shows you a picture of that in your book. Then in step 2, it says the screen on the graphing calculator is a window that lets you look at only part of the graph. So press the window key to set the borders of the graph. So what they're telling you is you want your graph to be in this window, but your window might only go from -5 to 5, and then like -2 to 2. So we need to go and make the window the size that we want it. So it says in the book to touch the window button. So we're going to go to the window button. Your screen should look like this now. Your numbers might be different from these, and that's okay. And what we're going to do is make those numbers look exactly like they do in your book. We're going to say we want the x minimum to be -10. If yours isn't -10, then clear it out and make it -10. You can use either your clear keys or your delete key right here. Your x maximum should be 10. Your x SCL, that stands for scale, should be 1. That means we're going to count by ones on the graph. Your y minimum is -10. Your y maximum is 10. And your y scale is 1. And you don't need to worry about this x res. It's just going to stay at 1 where it is. So this is telling me your minimum x number. It's going to start at -10. It's going to go to +10, and you're going to count by ones. And your minimum number is going to be negative 10 down here, positive 10 up here, and you're going to count by ones. Okay, so step 3 says to graph. So I'm going to hit the button graph. And there is the line, and it looks just like the one in your book, just like it's supposed to look. If yours doesn't look like that, then after this video you're going to need to go back and follow steps 1, 2, and 3 again so that you can see that. Okay, I'm moving on to page 279 now. It says in chapter 2 you learned how to solve equations in one variable. You can also solve equations by using a graphing calculator to graph each side of the equation as a function rule. The x-coordinate of the point where the graphs intersect is the solution of the equation. Example 2. Solve 7 equals negative 3/4 k plus 3 using a graphing calculator. Alright, so what we're going to do now is we are going to press our y equals. And we're done with this equation right now, so we need to clear it out of there. So we're just going to hit clear. Okay, it's gone. And then it says, then enter each side of the given function. So since the function is 7 equals negative 3/4 k plus 3, the first function we're going to have is just 7, because that's all by itself on one side of the equal sign. Then you're going to go down to y sub 2, and we're going to enter the right side of the equal sign. And it tells you exactly what to press. It says to enter a parenthesis, and then a negative sign, which is down here in the bottom corner, and then 3 divided by 4, and then close your parenthesis. Your screen should look like mine. Then you have to hit your X button again, which is right here by the green button. You should see the X appear. And then plus 3. So your equation 7 equals negative 3/4 x plus 3 is entered in 2 different lines in the graphing calculator. Alright, so it says to graph the function rules and use a standard graphing window by pressing zoom 6. This gives the window defined by between negative 10 and 10 on both axes. So this is a quick way to go in and get your window. So if you go to look at window, we'll punch our window key. I can see those numbers I put in are still there from last time. Negative 10, 10, 1, negative 10, 10, 1. If you like those numbers and you want to use them over and over and over again, there's a quick way to do that, and that's to push this zoom key right here, and then go down to number 6. Oops. And then just hit enter. And there's your lines. This is the line y equals 7, which you typed in right here, remember? The top line is y equals 7. You can hit graph to get back to it. This is your y equals 7 line. And then if you go to y equals, the second line you entered was negative 3/4 x plus 3. You go to graph. This is the second line that you entered right here. So what we're interested in is when they equal each other. That was the equation. 7 equals negative 3/4 k plus 3. And notice we put in an x for k, which is fine. The variable letter doesn't really matter. So when they equal each other, they'll be touching. So I need to know what this point is where they're touching. If you can tell me where they're touching, and I can go right down here to the bottom, I can find where they touch on the x-axis, and then I'll know what x equals. When x equals this number, those equations are equal. They touch. So to do that, we are going to use the calc feature, okay? So the calc feature is right here above the button trace. You see calc in yellow letters. That means you have to hit the yellow key and then hit the trace key, and then it will do the calc function. So I'm going to hit the yellow key, and then I'm going to hit the trace key. and then it says select intersect. So I'm going to go down to number 5, select intersect, and then I'm going to hit enter. And you'll notice that there is this cursor flashing in your screen. The cursor is flashing right there. So what we want to do is find where they intersect. And if you'll notice on here it says first curve, there's a question mark. So we're on the first curve right now. Okay, so it's a question mark. Is this the first curve? We'll say yes, so just hit enter. And you'll notice the cursor drop to the second curve, the second line. Okay, so is this the second curve? The calculator wants to know, is this the second curve? So we're going to click yes, this is the second curve. Okay, and then the calculator is saying, do you want me to guess where those two lines intersect? And we're like, yeah, we want you to guess where those two lines intersect. So you hit enter again. And if you'll notice now, the cursor jumped to where the two lines intersect. They intersect at -5.333333, and when y is 7. That is the intersection for those two lines. So the x-coordinate is -5 1/3. This decimal right here is the same thing as -5 1/3. And so that is the solution to the problem. So if I had to work out that problem by hand, I should have got a solution of -5 1/3. So watch the video again, step by step, as you go through page 279, 1 through 12, and try to graph each function rule using a graphing calculator. So for 1 through 6, you won't really have to write anything down. You just have to practice putting those things in your graphing calculator. Every time you do a problem, you're going to have to go up here, you're going to have to clear out all this other. Clear it out. Clear it out. You can't have any of that old stuff in there. Then when you hit graph, you'll see that it's all gone. Okay? Let's see, I'm looking at, I think the rest of it you should be able to do. So for 1 through 6, you're just going to graph a line. Make sure you get it graphed, just do your best. And then for 9 through 14, that's when you're going to have to go back and follow example 2 so that you can write down the solution to the problem. I don't want you to get frustrated. I just want you to have fun with these graphing calculators. But you must leave them in the room when you leave. So, page 279, graph 1 through 6 on the graphing calculators, and then find the solution 9 through 14 by following example 2. Have fun.